I can't tell you the amount of times I have been out, whether it's on the train, on the bus, or even on a flight internationally, and I bust open a little bit of Tony Hawk, and the person next to me, you know, in my age range goes, "What the heck are you playing, and on what are you playing it?" Hey everybody, welcome back to the Desk of Interesting Things. We're back again with something pretty interesting. Today I'm over here though, I am drinking some Snapple Fruit Punch for this video. But what we have here is something pretty cool. This is a flip phone, but not a 20-year-old flip phone, not something from way back in the day. This is a modern flip phone, although the company that makes this has been around since those early days. This is from Kyocera. This is a KYF42 Gratina flip phone, and it's got all the modern conveniences of a new phone with a classic clamshell flip design for those that want to give that nice, satisfying hang-up to those that are annoying you. So what makes this special in terms of modern phone capabilities? Well, as you can see down here, starting off, this has USB-C capabilities. So it's going to work with all of your chargers and all your stuff that you need to keep it going. But why am I covering this phone? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, I've always been interested in the aesthetic-wise of the Dumbphone or the minimalist phone, even though I'm not really a minimalist or a big user of a Dumbphone, even though I have one right here. Look at this. This is the Nokia 3210 candy bar phone. It's actually a little bit bigger when this is closed. So I do know Dumbphones, which I use this when I travel. It's a great international phone, although this one has replaced it in recent memory. So why do I have it? Well, I just like the aesthetic. It's very cool. It's very small. This is much easier to keep than something like a Pixel 10 Pro or something big, or a Samsung Galaxy Ultra that barely fits in your pocket. This is great in my little travel bag. It saves space, and it does more than a Dumbphone can, which means I can carry less. I don't have to carry other things, which we'll get to. But most of the information on these kind of phones, or this kind of phone as well, come from aesthetic videos here on YouTube. There are girls and ladies that are making these videos showing off how kawaii their phone is and how cute they've made it, and ideas on how to modify it and add stickers and all that stuff. And those are great. Those are fantastic videos. And in fact, that's how I came to find a phone like this. But what they gain in aesthetics and how cool they are, they lack in details and specifications. And whether that makes me a guy or a tech person, I want to know the specs and the details, not just how cool it looks. So that's why this video is getting made. So let's talk about the internals of this phone right now as we open it. Processor-wise, this is using a Qualcomm 215. The processor has clocked in at 1.20 gigahertz and does have 4 cores. Graphics-wise, it has a GPU in here. It is using an Adreno 308. Other internals that are important. Memory-wise, it's got 1 gigabyte of RAM. We'll get back to that. Internal storage on this device is 8 gigabytes of internal storage, which sounds like a fair bit for a dumb phone or a minimalist phone, and it technically is. The problem is that, if you may have been able to see here, this runs Android, and this runs Android 10 deGoogled version. And because it's Android, it's going to take up some space, meaning probably about 4-ish gigabytes is going to be reserved for the OS, meaning you really only have about 4 gigabytes to work with, which isn't a lot. Thankfully, this does have a micro SD card slot, so you can throw in a card if you want up to 32 gigabytes, which does help quite a bit if you're going to load this up with your music collection, or if you're going to sideload a bunch of games on there, which we'll talk about both of those a little bit later. In terms of the screen, this is a color TFT display, 256 colors. It's got a size of 3.4 inches, right, with 288 ppi on this one. And it looks pretty dang beautiful, right? As you can see, it is clear, it is sharp, the quality, it's in good shape. This phone itself is an import. It does have some nicks, some bumps, and some scratches, but it is in perfect condition for me for its age. Plastic on the front and back. I added this little magnetic plate here for support for mounting it to MagSafe stuff, but it works fantastic, and it's also incredibly simple. Outside of that port on the bottom for USB-C, You've got one port on the side that is the action button, and it calls up the time, and it tells you your battery percentage, and then there is a light here when you get a notification. But it is incredibly simple. On the back, you have the only camera. This is an 8 megapixel camera, and it's not great. Although it can shoot MPEG-4 at 30 frames a second with a video resolution of 1280 by 720, but you're not going to be shooting at any IMAX level films with this camera. It is good to take some snapshots outside, and it does give that older digital camera aesthetic if you're looking for that. So it's nice to have. Communication wise, it has GPS built into it, which is fantastic. It allows for map usage. It has Bluetooth. It is running older Bluetooth though, 4.2, but I haven't had an issue with it with modern devices. Network wise, it's got Edge, GPRS, WAP, Wi-Fi, and can also be used as a Wi-Fi hotspot in the event you need coverage for your laptop or something along those lines. Now the big question is, does this work in the United States, and will it work for me? The answer is yes, but it does work in the United States, but it requires specific carriers. That said, most of the major carriers it won't work on. I have heard that it does not work on Verizon at all. AT&T is hit or miss. T-Mobile it does work on. I had T-Mobile and I tested it, although it was incredibly spotty. Now, T-Mobile in my area, even though I'm in a big city, is spotty to begin with, but even outside and traveling to areas where T-Mobile is strong, I couldn't get it to have a solid connection. It was just not a good experience. That said, if you are on an MVMO or one related to the T-Mobile network or the AT&T network, it seems to work great. This right here is running on Boost Mobile. I have the unlimited plan for $25 a month, and I've had zero problems. It has worked fantastic. Wi-Fi in the house is rock solid, and I can watch content and get all my information. And when I'm traveling on the road, the Boost Mobile signal has been perfect, and I couldn't recommend it more. That said, if you can see here where the charm would be for most people, I have what is called the little buddy here. You can get these on Amazon. Inside here, you have a slot for a micro SD card for an extra one, as well as for a SIM card in there, a micro SIM or a nano SIM in there, as well as a tool to open your device. For me, I have in here an extra micro SD card that is blank, as well as a separate SIM because I am an international traveler. This used to be my old international phone, the old Nokia 3210, which is an absolute dumb phone. It really can't do anything else, although it has some cloud phone support, but it's really, really bad. Although I love this design and aesthetic, it's just a bad modern phone, but a good dumb phone. This is somewhere in the middle. Not a minimalist phone, not a dumb phone, but not a modern phone all the same. That's because this runs Android 10, and it runs it really, really well. No problems there. And because it's Android 10, you have access to pretty much most apps out there. There are some apps now that are Android 12 and up, but most apps are Android 10. And if you can find older APKs of those apps, many of them will work. One thing though, this is technically a deGoogled phone, meaning you do not have access to the Google Play Store. It does not have any sort of Google Play services built in. So understand that when importing this. If you import this phone, chances are that it's already going to be loaded with what is known as the Aurora Store. As you can see right here, bring it back up on the screen. There's the Aurora Store. And you have a pointer that you can control with the D-pad, which works really well. And this allows you to download APKs and apps that you can find on the Play Store to use. And you have all the popular ones. You've got Snapchat, you've got WhatsApp, ChatGPT, Crunchyroll, video apps, all this stuff. Now, these can be hit or miss, but the big ones do work. You have music apps, Apple Music. I was using Amazon Music before I switched back to my iHeartRadio. You've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, you've got Discord, you've got WhatsApp. All the major ones do work fine. As you can see here on my homepage that you can edit, of course, I've got Facebook Messenger, even though I don't have Facebook on there, but I do have Messenger because that's the way I can reach my family. I've got Snapchat and Instagram because that's the way I contact and talk to my fiance mostly. And I've got NewPipe. Now, NewPipe is interesting because this doesn't have Google Play services. That means you're losing access natively to Gmail, to Maps, and to YouTube. Although, NewPipe you can download on the Aurora store and have access to video content. So it works just like YouTube. You can search it. You can watch shorts. You can watch all that stuff. If you can see here, these are all live streams. So let's click on one. I've never actually watched a live stream on here, but it loads up. It alerts you that it's going, and here you go, and it starts playing. And if you hit the big screen button or the full screen button, look at that. It goes horizontal, and the quality is fantastic. It looks really, really good. Everything is pretty awesome. So you can watch all your videos. And sometimes I've caught myself watching a video or two here on the device. So that may or may not be available to you down the road because Google has said they are closing down Google, Android, and a lot of people are in a huff about that because you'll lose access to this. So that may or may not be an issue down the road. But for now, you can have access to your video stuff. Mail. If you have a dedicated mail app, they work fine. I have Aquamail here, but you have other options like Blue Mail and the rest of them. Texting. The texting app is Japanese. It is still usable, but it's not great. I would recommend like Textra. You can download your other texting app, or you can use WhatsApp, whatever you want. It's a little bit better. In terms of options, it does have built-in apps and support. You've got your camera button down here. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at that. Snapple in the room. So that works there, and you can shoot video that way. You've got an email button. That email is based in Japan, so it doesn't work. Even if you set it up, that's not going to work. You've got your contacts up here, and you've got a built-in web browser. Now, this web browser works just fine for basic stuff, right? If you're just going to search, it will work okay. So if you want to load up a website, like I'll just load up AP News, you can open that up and you can scroll down and you can read whatever you need to. Coverage, and it depends some of it on your speed, but that RAM is really going to be your limiting factor, right? Snapchat does work, even though it requires Google Play services. It just gives you an annoying message saying you don't have Google services on this app and it's not going to work, but it works without it. Instagram works fine. Messenger works fine. TikTok works on here as well for short form video, but it's not very nice. And that's where that 1 GB of RAM comes into it. So if I come here into my settings, come over to settings, and we will drop down here to, what is it, more settings. Let's see if I can remember where this is. No, I think it's on the first page. Now I'm gonna look like a crazy person, right? Maybe it is more settings. Pointers, storage, apps, location, accessibility. You do have a lot of options. You have developer options if you want to mess around. And that's how you load APKs on there. Like I said, you may get lucky and the Aurora store is loaded on here. If not, you're going to have to sideload that yourself. There are a lot of fantastic walkthroughs here on YouTube and online for that. It's not super hard, but you can get it on there yourself. What is it? Maybe advanced settings? No, it is developer options. So if we go to developer options, we go to memory. So if you can see here, I've done nothing. I don't have anything running. The backgrounds programs are closed, and it's just basically running. So if I hit memory, 891 megabytes in use right now. That's nearly a gig, and the average used is 98%. Free 20 megabytes. So you are going to max out your memory usage on this device, especially when using modern apps. The very, very new ones are going to be a lot more memory heavy and intense, and it's just going to be quite problematic. They're usable, but they're slow. If you're a minimalist and you're trying to cut back on social media, that may be a benefit for you, right? So understand that. You're not going to be cruising through TikTok like a breeze all the time. It is a slow process, which may get you to limit your usage. Now, other things, there's built-in weather, all that stuff. You do have GPS, so you have access to map features. I use Waze, which pulls from Google Maps. Works fine. You can use Open Maps and other things like that. They work well, and Waze still works with your music app. So when I'm on the road, I load up Waze and I can load up my iHeartRadio station and listen to podcasts or listen to music. It does take a little bit to get started, right? When you're getting in your car, but once it's up and running, it seems to work flawlessly. I haven't had any issues, and I've listened to my music and my podcast on a trip through LA and back, which trying to get to the other side of LA and back is still going to be an hour. So wherever I was, and it was totally fine. So it is highly usable in that regard, but you're going to be missing out on some stuff. Gaming is pretty much a no-go, although some apps work. I have a basic, if I can load up here, let's get out of here. Getting out of an app also takes a little bit. Custom area. I have Solitaire on here, which works fine, since you do have a pointer. No touch screen, though. That is a limitation. But I have an emulator on here, a couple of them, that seem to work fine. And these emulators are based on old Java platforms and Java games, specifically right here, the N-Gage. So with that and with the micro SD card, you can place them all on there. And you can take advantage of actually some surprising amount of games. You can play Tomb Raider. You can play a full version of Tony Hawk Pro Skater on here. You can do Ghost Recon. You can do some other ones, even an Elder Scrolls game. And you can even edit and adjust your keypad to make things work. And if you look on the channel, we actually did a video on Tony Hawk Pro Skater here on the N-Gage. So it does work just fine, and it'll load up and it'll play, and you'll have all that. You may have to make some adjustments and tweak. I don't know if I have this tweaked out. I usually have to go in and adjust something visually for it to load properly, but no, it seems to work fine. And here's Tony Hawk. Look at this running. Now, one limitation is the audio. You'll hear that there's no music. I'm going to try to play Tony Hawk here. Look at this. This is actually really, really cool if you are playing on a flip phone, because a game like this isn't available on a smartphone unless you're using an emulator as well. So this is cool. I can't tell you the amount of times I have been out, whether it's on the train, on the bus, or even on a flight internationally, and I bust open a little bit of Tony Hawk, and the person next to me, in my age range goes, "What the heck are you playing, and on what are you playing it?" That is a fun conversation to have. So if you're side-loading games like that, Java-based games, you have a lot that you can play with. So this is a lot of fun. This is a workable phone. If you want to keep this stock to use as a phone, it's much better than a traditional Dumbphone, which only texts and only calls, because you have other options. Yes, the minimalist thing is cool, as I bump the camera here. The minimalist thing is cool, but unfortunately, something like this, which I want to love, something like this has what you need. I need access to maps. Sorry, I need it. I need access to my mail, right? Especially if I'm getting codes to open up things and I need them to my email. I need that, right? I need Messenger. I'd rather not. Facebook sucks, but that's how I keep in touch with my family. I need my social media because my partner doesn't text and they use social media because we're always sending photos back and forth, right? We need some of these things, and this phone can handle it. It's also highly editable. You can download on the Aurora Store a different launcher and change this up. If you want a minimal launcher, you can add that in, and it's incredibly cool to have a very minimal launcher on something like this. You can edit your shortcuts here. You've got these F commands down here at the bottom I've set up, and you can change those on the fly. You can edit the home page. If I go up here, let's edit. You can edit all these things. I can get rid of this app and change it out for my calendar. I can get rid of the time and date and change it up for a traditional clock. Because it's Android, you can do all of those things. So I think this is a pretty fantastic phone in that regard, although there are some limitations and your use case for this is diminishing. I don't see myself using this phone in a year or two, because by then it's going to be nearly unusable, especially when apps are now all moved and migrated to Android 12 and up. It's going to be a problem. Also, the battery is going to be a problem. Thankfully, we'll talk about the battery. It comes off really, really easy because this is plastic, and this is great. I didn't even turn off the phone. it comes right out, and you have access down here to your SD card right there and your SIM, and this just pops up easy to use, and it's great. The problem is the battery itself. This battery is 1500 milliamps. So that's not a lot. That's not going to get you through a whole day, especially if you're using maps, playing some games, accessing your email. It's just not going to happen. I would say 2 to 4 hours with light use like that. If you're not on social media a bunch, you can get away with it. If you're on a charger nearby, or if I'm on my car, I'm just plugging it in because thankfully USB-C, it's not really a problem. Thankfully, you can get other batteries, right? This is the one that came with it, and this one has been used pretty heavily, so it's not super great, but it's a good backup battery. And you can buy batteries like the one we showed in here. This is a brand new battery. You can get this on Temu and places like AliExpress for about $5 to $6. So what I like to do is I'll charge my phone overnight, swap that battery, and then charge the other one during the day and have an extra battery in my bag just in case I need it. And of course, because it's USB-C, you can keep a little charging brick or a little, you know, like the lipstick size ones, and be good to go. So that is the KYF42 Gratina for those that are interested in these minimalist or these small phones. If you have any questions, let me know. I can answer them hopefully, but this is the phone, right? And you can load it up here. Boom. And it launches. Look at that. Quick, fast, effective. This is my new fun device. I still have a smartphone, but I found myself primarying this phone more and more and more. So if you want to see more dumb phones, or you want to see more minimalist phones or import phones, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to find more and show more. I love phones. I love collecting old phones. Right, I've got old Nokias, I've got old Ericssons, I have the old PlayStation phone that I actually used when it released. So if you want to see more, let me know in the comments below, and like, comment, and subscribe. That's the best thing you can do, right? If you want to support this channel, we don't make any money, we don't have money on links, we don't have a Patreon, nothing. We just have your support here on YouTube. So until next time, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.